There has been a conspiracy theory floating around the internet that global elites want to start making people eat bugs. Well, I looked into it, and there's a lot more truth to the stories than people realize. So there has been a push recently to encourage people to start eating bugs. Most notably, Vanity Fair posted a YouTube video with Nicole Kidman eating bugs. So what kind of bugs are people wanting us to eat? Crickets. Does this look tasty to you? Would you like to eat some crickets? How about tarantulas? There are many parts of the world where people eat tarantulas. Is this making you hungry? What about mealworms? Would you like to eat some mealworms? In the video with Nicole Kidman, she ate mealworms while they were still alive. I don't know about you, but I think this all sounds disgusting. In this discussion, I want to focus on one man, Bill Gates. We all know Bill Gates as the founder of Microsoft and one of the richest people in the world. In this video, I'm not going to get into everything about Bill Gates. I'm not going to go into his creepy relationship with Jeffrey Epstein or his horrific human testing in Africa. I just want to focus on the bugs because there's no way that could be an evil plot, right? In 2009, Bill Gates gave a TED Talk that I think shows a lot about who he is as a person. He was talking about malaria, and to make a point, he releases a swarm of mosquitoes into the audience. What kind of person does that? That seems like something an evil villain would do. This is clearly someone who does not care about anybody. Bill Gates started this talk by saying something very revealing. He said, "I think there are some very important problems that don't get worked on naturally. Only by paying attention to these things and having brilliant people who care and draw other people in can we make as much progress as we need to." So he is saying that there are things that the market does not want. For whatever reason, people do not want the solution he is selling. But rather than find a market solution, he is saying there is a group of brilliant people who know best. Who are these brilliant people? Well, himself, of course. He thinks this brilliant group of people should come up with the solutions and then force them on the people. That is Bill Gates' mindset. I would argue that is dramatically different from most Americans' mindset, that free markets should drive solutions. You should have the freedom to choose how you spend your hard-earned money, not Bill Gates. After this speech, the Gates Foundation started investing in bug businesses. These are farms that would produce bugs for people to eat. In 2012, the Gates Foundation granted $100,000 to All Things Bugs LLC. In 2021, the Gates Foundation gave $2.2 million to the Insecti Pro Limited. Thanks to these investments, the bug industry has been growing. Last year, Aspire Food Group opened a new plant in London, Ontario, Canada. It will produce 9,000 metric tons of crickets per year for human and pet consumption. That is 2 billion insects each year for consumption across Canada and the United States. I hope you like crickets because they are making a lot of them. To build these factories, they were funded by $1 million of startup capital from the Holt Prize, which was given to them by Bill Clinton. Aspire Food Group also has a facility in Austin, Texas. Here is another factory in Canada called Entimo Farms that harvests 50 million crickets per week. That is 2.6 billion crickets per year. This is the room where they grow the crickets. They harvest them every 6 weeks. They clean them and put them on baking trays. Then they cook them in ovens. Then they grind them into a powder that can be mixed with flour. I'm showing this to you so that you realize This is not a conspiracy theory. They are already producing bugs for you to eat. A lot of this agenda is being driven by the World Economic Forum. Bill Gates speaks frequently at the World Economic Forum and is seen often with the chairperson, Klaus Schwab. In 2021, the World Economic Forum posted this article, "Why We Need to Give Insects the Role They Deserve in Our Food Systems." The argument is that farming insects is cheaper and has less impact on the environment than standard forms of animal farming like beef. Now, there are a lot of fact-check websites out there that are funded by the global elite that debunk the notion that anyone is trying to make you eat bugs. They always use the same argument. They claim that it is a conspiracy theory. They try to tell you, you're just crazy and stop being paranoid. They claim no one wants to stop you from doing anything. They are merely providing you with more options. More options are a good thing, right? This is a lie. Don't be fooled by this, because the same people at the same time are trying to restrict the production of meat. This is all driven by climate change. You may have heard that carbon emissions cause global warming. Al Gore went around the world giving presentations about the dangers of carbon. In 2006, he released a documentary called An Inconvenient Truth, which won 2 Academy Awards. But there is a problem. Some of the claims he made have failed to come true. For instance, in a presentation in 2009, he claimed that the North Pole would be completely ice-free by 2013. That did not happen. We just hit another major climate milestone date. Climate activist Greta Thunberg predicted in 2018 that climate change will wipe out all of humanity by June 21st, 2023. That would have occurred just last week. Let me check. I'm still here. It's a little concerning to me that so many claims about global warming never seem to come true. Isn't that interesting? But now there is a new thing. Scientists have now determined that nitrogen, ammonia, and methane are even more dangerous than carbon in creating global warming. In a United Nations report from 2018, they claim that nitrogen pollution is one of the most important pollution issues facing humanity. Nitrogen is 300 times more potent at warming the atmosphere than carbon dioxide. My first question is, why have we never heard about this before? If scientists were studying carbon pollution for over a decade, why are we just hearing about nitrogen now? Regardless, without questioning these findings, governments have quickly moved to restrict these gases, which mostly come from farming. In the Netherlands, the government ordered farmers to reduce their herds by half. The farmers have been protesting. In Ireland, the government proposed killing 200,000 cows to reduce their impact. In New Zealand, they want to reduce methane by reducing cow farts. Last year, they proposed a new law called the fart tax. Every time a cow farts, you get a tax. I swear, I am not making this up. Yes, this is a real thing. This new tax would encourage farmers to reduce the size of their herds to avoid the tax. Less cows, less farts. And in case you were wondering, this is coming to America next. Just last month, Special Presidential Envoy for Climate, John Kerry, started talking about this issue. He said, "A lot of people have no clue that agriculture contributes about 33% of all the emissions of the world. We can't get to net zero. We don't get this job done unless agriculture is front and center as part of the solution." They are coming after the farmers, just like they have in the Netherlands, Ireland, and New Zealand. The common feature of all of these examples is that the one solution they choose to use is the dramatic increase in government control. The way free markets normally work is you have a producer and a customer. That makes sense. For instance, with the oil industry, you have oil companies and customers. Notice in this diagram that no government is needed to make free markets work. None. Now imagine some of the global elite look at this and they say, man, those oil companies over there, they sure are making a lot of money. How can I get a piece of it? Well, let's create this thing called climate change and insert a wall of government into the free market. This way, the government controls the market, and then they start taking the money. This happened for the oil industry, and now the same people are coming for your food. But we can see that all of this government intervention did not work for the oil industry. It certainly made a lot of people rich, but I'm not sure it actually impacted climate change. We are now in a situation with skyrocketing oil prices, and electric cars still cannot compete on their own in the free market. Do you realize that you are paying taxes to give subsidies for electric cars? In 2022, in America, electric vehicles made up 1% of cars on the road, and new electric car sales received a $7,500 tax subsidy. So our taxes are going to give 1% of the richest Americans a $7,500 check. I'm sorry, but I do not understand why the best way to save the climate is to have poor people pay a tax subsidy for rich people. Does that make sense to you? Just to give you an idea of the scale of this subsidy, it resulted in $860 million of additional revenue for Tesla in the last 3 years that your taxes paid for. I don't know about you, but I would rather not pay the extra tax. Now, I don't know for certain if there is or is not climate change. All I am saying is it is very suspicious that the people yelling the loudest about climate change have a vested interest in you believing in it. I think this is a valid situation to be asking tough questions, especially when climate change policies of strict government intervention will result in the misery of millions of people. But it gets worse. These climate activists are not just going to stop at farming, they are now coming for your pizza. New York is set to restrict emissions from coal and wood-fired pizza ovens in restaurants. Restaurant owners will be forced to install new filters on their ovens at a cost of $20,000 plus costly maintenance. If they do not comply, the restaurants must stop selling pizza. The New York Post this week ran the numbers. They calculated that you would have to burn a pizza oven 849 years to equal 1 year of pollution from John Kerry's private jet. So, if John Kerry just took one less trip per year, we could still all eat pizza. Don't you find it a little bit curious that it is the poor people that always have to suffer for these climate solutions? Well, this time, they have gone too far. If there's one thing I know, don't try to take an American's pizza. I don't think these people even care about the environment. And the way you know that the global elite are lying to you is because there are so many other solutions out there that they ignore that could improve the planet. For instance, why are we producing all our goods in China? Do you know where China is? It's all the way on the other side of the world. That's really far away. So you're telling me that it is good for the environment to produce goods in heavily polluting Chinese factories and then burn all that fuel to ship them halfway around the world. It seems to me to be a lot better for the environment to make all those goods in America and give all those jobs to Americans. But global elites do not want to hear that because it would not make them any money. I will give you another example. Amazon. Do you know how much trash Amazon creates? In 2021, Amazon created 709 million pounds of plastic packaging. That is the size of 70,000 killer whales. Not only that, it is an 18% increase from 2020. So the situation is getting worse. It is estimated that out of the total amount of plastic, 26 million pounds will end up in the oceans, rivers, and other aquatic ecosystems. Now I will ask you, does this seem good for the environment? How can we never hear about this? Wouldn't a better solution be to have more small businesses on Main Street rather than receive so many packages from Amazon? Or how about this? Amazon should have to pay to clean up all the trash in the ocean, so that way small businesses can become more competitive in the marketplace. There are so many easy solutions that you never hear about. Why? Because Amazon headquarters is located right next to Washington, D.C. The politicians hear from Amazon, and they do not hear from you. These global elites do not care about the environment. They care about taking away your rights so that they can make more money. They don't care about Amazon's plastic. They care about making you eat bugs. Let me explain in a really simple way why I don't buy into this climate hysteria. One of the claims is that if we don't stop global warming, sea levels will rise and wipe out coastal cities. Here's the problem. One of the biggest advocates for climate change is Barack Obama. Here's a photograph of Obama's beach house. If global warming was really a crisis, why would Obama buy a house right on the beach? You can see the beach right there. This does not look like a crisis to me. It looks like he is a liar. It certainly doesn't seem to be a big enough deal to kill 200,000 cows in Ireland. And I would also like to know, why do no journalists ever ask Obama this question? Just ask him, why would he buy a beach house if he is so concerned about rising sea levels? You know what? Please leave a comment down below if you know why journalists will not ask Obama this question. But Obama is not alone. Here is Bill Gates' beach house. Here is Al Gore's beach house. Here is John Kerry's beach house. You can see the beach right there. Is anyone else seeing this? If these people are so concerned about rising sea levels, why are they all buying beach houses? It doesn't seem like they are that worried about it. So you're telling me that I have to eat the bugs to stop climate change while you are laughing it up in your beach house. I'm not buying it. I think they are liars. And if one person leaves an angry comment down below that I need to just trust the science, I'm going to lose it. So what can you do about all of this? It is very simple. I don't see this as a Republican or a Democrat issue. This is an issue of the establishment against the American people. But there is something that you can do. The great thing about freedom is that you have a choice. You can decide what to eat. You can decide how to care for your family. All you have to do is figure out who is on your side. The World Economic Forum cannot implement any of their agenda unless they have the politicians under their control. And guess what? You control who those politicians are. So unless you want to eat the bugs, any politician you vote for needs to publicly reject the World Economic Forum. If they will not do that, they are siding with the global elite over the American people. What people need to realize is that you have all the power, and you don't have to eat the bugs if you don't want to. Now I want to hear from you. Will you eat the bugs? Let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. There are more exciting videos coming up that you don't want to miss. I'm Zach from Wolves in Finance. Thank you for watching.